You want to change your life? Then hear this. Nobody's coming to save you. The person you're waiting for, the miracle you're hoping will show up one day and drag you out of the chaos, that person is already in your mirror. Fixing yourself doesn't start with inspiration. It starts with confrontation. Look yourself dead in the eye and admit what's broken. Not with guilt, not with shame, but with clarity. You can't evolve pretending everything is fine. The most dangerous lie is the one you tell yourself, I'm okay. If you were okay, you wouldn't feel this restless. That inner tension, it's your potential screaming for oxygen. Most people are chasing motivation like it's some kind of drug, but motivation is unreliable. It's the spark. What you need is fuel, and that fuel is discipline. The unsexy, unseen, consistent action you take when nobody's clapping. Fixing yourself means doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. That's how you stack self-respect. Every time you show up for yourself, you vote for a stronger version of you. The old version will resist, it will beg, it will sabotage, but you've got to out-discipline your excuses. Look around you. Your environment is either your trap or your launch pad. The people you text, the voices you listen to, the habits you repeat, all of them are shaping you. You can't plant greatness in toxic soil. Fixing yourself also means curating your surroundings like your future depends on it, because it does. Some people won't like the new you. That's fine. Growth often offends comfort. If you want to elevate, you've got to relocate mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically. Now, emotions. Most people are ruled by them. They feel anger and they react. They feel fear and they freeze. They feel sad and they retreat. Emotions are data, not dictators. Fixing yourself means learning to feel deeply but not respond blindly. Emotional mastery isn't about being numb. It's about knowing when to listen and when to lead. Power doesn't live in avoiding feelings, it lives in processing them, learning from them, then acting on what aligns with your highest self, not your wounded self. And please, stop waiting to feel ready. That's a lie your mind tells you to keep you safe. Readiness is a side effect of action, not a prerequisite for it. Want to fix your life? Move. Now. Do the first rep. Make the first call. Speak the first truth. You will stumble. Good. That's how you learn to walk again. Confidence isn't built by thinking. It's built by doing. You don't need more time. You need more courage. Last thing, this whole fix yourself journey isn't just about you. It's about becoming the kind of person who can give back, who can lead, who can serve. When you shift your focus from me to mission, everything starts to align, because fulfillment doesn't come from fixing. It comes from building something meaningful from what was once broken. The scars you carry, they become someone else's survival guide when you choose purpose over pain. So no more waiting, no more numbing, no more pretending. It's time to fix yourself, not because you're not enough, but because deep down, you know you're meant for more. Let's begin. You want to fix your life? Then it starts with one thing, awareness. Not vague, surface level awareness, but the raw kind that makes you uncomfortable. The kind where you sit down, strip away the noise, and tell yourself the truth, without sugarcoating, without blaming, without running. Most people never change because they refuse to face who they've actually become. They live in a constant state of distraction, scrolling, binging, numbing, because silence is scary. But silence is where the answers live. You cannot change what you won't confront, and you will never confront what you're unwilling to see. Ask yourself honestly, where are you lying to yourself? Where are you settling? Where are you blaming others for what you keep allowing? This is not about guilt, it's about clarity. Guilt keeps you stuck in the past. Clarity gives you power in the present. When you become radically honest with yourself, it's like flipping on the light in a dark room. Suddenly you see where the mess is. And once you see it, you can clean it. But until then, you're just stumbling around, reacting to life, hoping things get better. People chase the idea of becoming their best self, but ignore who they currently are. They want transformation without truth. That's not how it works. Every real breakthrough starts with awareness. Painful, inconvenient, often embarrassing awareness. But that's what makes it powerful. It's not weakness to admit where you've gone off course. It's courage, it's strength. Because only someone truly committed to change is willing to take full responsibility for their reality. And don't confuse awareness with judgment. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about becoming the kind of person who no longer hides behind excuses. When you step into self-awareness, you stop playing victim. You stop blaming the world, your past, your circumstances. You start saying, this is where I am, this is what I've done, and this is what I'm going to do about it. That's the moment you begin to shift. That's the moment your life stops happening to you and starts happening from you. It doesn't matter how long you've been stuck. It doesn't matter how deep the hole is. Once you become aware of what needs to change, once you stop denying, minimizing, distracting, you activate your power. From there, growth becomes possible. But don't expect it to be easy. The truth will demand change. And change will demand discomfort. But it's worth it, because once you own your story, you can rewrite it. You can't fix what you won't face, and you can't face what you refuse to see. So start seeing, start owning, start transforming. That's how it begins. Everyone is chasing motivation like it's some magical switch that once flipped will make everything effortless. But let me tell you the truth. Motivation is a liar. It shows up when it wants to, and it disappears the moment things get hard. If you build your life on motivation, you'll be inconsistent, emotional, and exhausted. That's why people start things strong and quit after a few days. They rely on a feeling instead of a standard. You don't fix your life by waiting to feel inspired. You fix it by creating discipline, by building habits that don't care how you feel. They just get done. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't post on social media. It doesn't need applause. It's waking up when your body says sleep. Showing up when your mind says quit, doing the work when nobody's watching. Motivation asks, do I feel like it today? Discipline says it doesn't matter, this is what I do. That's how you transform. Not by emotion, but by repetition. Consistency builds identity, and identity shapes destiny. You become what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally feel. People with discipline have mastered the ability to act beyond emotion. That's real power. If you're serious about fixing yourself, you need to stop treating discipline like a punishment. It's not something that restricts you, it's something that frees you. It gives you the structure to become who you were meant to be. Without discipline, you're a slave to your impulses. Your comfort zone becomes your prison. But when you build discipline, you don't just create a routine, you build a foundation strong enough to hold the weight of your dreams. Every decision you make when it's hard becomes a deposit into your future. It's not just about the task. It's about the message you're sending to yourself. I can trust me. You don't need to feel like working out to work out. You don't need to feel like reading to pick up the book. You don't need to feel confident to take action. You need to decide who you want to be and then live like it's non-negotiable. Discipline is the bridge between intention and result. And the longer you wait for the perfect moment, the further you drift from the life you want. Stop asking for it to be easier. Ask to be stronger. Build the muscle that carries you when your feelings try to drag you down. Motivation might get you started, but discipline keeps you going. And when you build that, no circumstance can break you. That's when you know you're fixing yourself, not by chasing a mood, but by becoming the kind of person who does what's right, no matter how it feels. Your environment is shaping you, whether you realize it or not. Every day, the people you talk to, the content you consume, the habits you repeat, they're either building you up or breaking you down. You can have all the ambition in the world, but if your environment is toxic, negative, lazy, or full of distractions, your progress will constantly be sabotaged. Fixing yourself isn't just an internal game. It's also about what surrounds you. You can't expect to stay strong if everything around you is pulling you in the opposite direction. You have to look at your life like a garden. You could be the most fertile soil in the world, but if the weeds aren't pulled, if the sunlight doesn't come in, if the water is poisoned, nothing will grow. The people you spend time with are either pushing you to be your best or pulling you into patterns you've been trying to break. Some of your closest relationships may be the very reason you feel stuck. But that doesn't mean you stop loving people, but it does mean you start protecting your energy. Not everyone deserves access to you, especially if they drain your focus or reinforce your limitations. And it's not just people, it's your space, your habits, your routines. Is your room a place of peace or chaos? Is your phone a tool or a trap? Do your habits support your growth or feed your distractions? Every little thing matters. When you surround yourself with clarity, structure, and intention, you begin to move with more power. Your environment becomes a silent force that works with you instead of against you. The truth is, most people don't realize they're stuck because they've gotten too used to dysfunction. It's become their normal. And when something toxic becomes normal, growth starts to feel unnatural. That's why you have to reset your standard. Changing your environment doesn't mean you need to move across the world or abandon everyone you know. It starts small. Replace one draining conversation with one that challenges you. Replace one distraction with one resource. Spend less time around people who gossip and more time around people who build. Read things that elevate you. Watch content that teaches you. Get around people who live the life you want to create. Energy is contagious. Surround yourself with people and places that remind you who you're becoming, not who you used to be. Fixing yourself is not just about willpower. It's also about architecture. Design a life that makes discipline easier. Create an environment where the highest version of you can breathe, because when your environment aligns with your purpose, momentum is no longer forced, it's natural. That's when you stop pushing uphill and start moving in flow. That's when change becomes sustainable. Your emotions are powerful. They can fuel you, guide you, protect you, but they can also trap you, deceive you, and control you if you don't learn how to manage them. Most people are living as prisoners to their emotions. They feel anger and lash out. They feel fear and shut down. They feel sad and isolate themselves. But here's the truth. Emotions are signals, not commands. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. Fixing yourself means learning how to sit with your emotions, understand them, and then respond, not react. You've been taught to believe that strong people don't feel, that emotional control means emotional suppression. That's wrong. Emotional strength isn't about ignoring what you feel. It's about mastering how you respond to it. When you ignore your emotions, they don't disappear. They just go underground. They bypass and ignore because it's more comfortable to just go with your emotion. They fester, they leak into your behavior, your habits, your relationships. But when you learn to face them, you start reclaiming control. You start to realize you are not your emotions. You are the one experiencing them. There's a big difference between saying, I am angry, and saying, I am feeling anger. One is an identity. The other is just a temporary state. Fixing yourself means you don't let your lowest moments define your long-term direction. You don't allow fear to drive your decisions. You don't let guilt, shame, or resentment keep you chained to your past. Those emotions might visit you, but you don't have to build a home for them. Feel them, acknowledge them, and ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? What's the deeper need underneath it? Anger might be a signal that a boundary has been crossed. Sadness might be asking you to slow down and heal. Fear might be a reminder to prepare. But none of them are the final voice. They're just messengers. And when you develop that emotional intelligence, when you create space between the feeling and the reaction, you gain freedom. You stop being slave to every impulse. You stop being tossed around by every mood swing. You become grounded, stable, centered. Life will always throw things at you, loss, disappointment, pressure. But when you've trained yourself to respond with intention instead of emotion, you become unshakable. Fixing yourself means owning your emotional world, not blaming others for how you feel, not waiting for someone else to fix your state. You learn to regulate your internal world so that the external world doesn't control you. And once you master that, once you stop being led by every emotion, you don't just react to life, you create it. That's when you shift from being at the mercy of your feelings to being the leader of your life. That's when real power begins. Too many people are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect mindset, the perfect circumstances before they take the first step. But here's the hard truth. You're never going to feel fully ready. Readiness is a myth created by fear. It's a way to delay action, to stay in your comfort zone while convincing yourself that you're being strategic or patient. But growth doesn't wait for readiness. Growth demands movement. Fixing yourself begins the moment you decide that forward is the only direction, even if you're unsure, unprepared, or uncomfortable. There is no perfect time. The stars won't align. No voice will come from the sky telling you now you may begin. If you keep waiting until you feel confident, you'll stay stuck. Confidence isn't what leads to action. It's the result of action. You build belief in yourself every time you show up, stumble, learn, and keep going. Waiting to feel confident before you take a leap is like waiting to get stronger before you go to the gym. It doesn't work that way. You earn readiness through movement, not mental rehearsal. The people who grow, who transform, who truly fix their lives, they start before they feel qualified. They begin when it's messy. They don't wait for certainty because they understand this. Clarity comes through doing. Every step you take reveals something new. Even your mistakes teach you more than endless planning ever could. Action is the antidote to fear. You don't overcome fear by thinking about it. You overcome it by walking straight into it, one step at a time. Every excuse you tell yourself about why now isn't the time. It's just fear dressed up as logic. I need more time. I need to be in a better place mentally. I need to learn more first. These are all ways to justify staying the same. But the cost of inaction is higher than the cost of making a few mistakes along the way. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about momentum. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be brave enough to start. Starting before you're ready is about trust. Trusting that you'll learn what you need to learn as you go. Trusting that falling down isn't failure. It's feedback. Trusting that even when it's uncomfortable, every step forward is reprogramming your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hesitates and start becoming someone who moves, who acts, who leads. That shift is how transformation begins. Not with a lightning bolt of confidence, but with a small, shaky step in the right direction. And once that step is taken, momentum takes over. So don't wait. Don't plan forever. Don't hesitate until it's perfect. Start now, because now is all you'll ever really have. Fixing yourself isn't just about personal growth. It's not just about having better habits, more success, or inner peace. That's part of it. But if that's where it ends, you'll still feel something missing. Because the deepest fulfillment doesn't come from self-improvement alone. It comes when you take what you've learned, what you've healed, and what you've become, and use it to serve something bigger than yourself. When you stop obsessing over your own comfort and start aligning your life with a greater purpose, everything begins to change. That's when your life starts to feel meaningful, not just productive. So many people are chasing success for themselves, money, status, recognition, and yet they still feel empty when they get it. That's because success without purpose is shallow. You weren't meant to just fix your own problems and live in a bubble of self-focus. You were meant to grow, to rise, and then to give. When you stop asking, what do I get, and start asking, how can I serve, you shift from being a consumer to being a contributor, and contribution is where fulfillment lives. You see, everything you've gone through, the pain, the struggles, the failures, it wasn't just about you. It was preparing you to help others. The lessons you've learned, the strength you've built, the perspective you've gained, those are gifts, but they're not just for you to hoard. They're meant to be shared. When you use your growth to lift others, you multiply its value. You turn personal healing into collective impact. And this doesn't mean you need to become a public speaker or start a movement. It can be simple. Being a better parent, showing up for someone in pain, mentoring a friend, being the example of what's possible. Serving something greater than yourself means living intentionally, with your eyes off the mirror and onto the mission. And that mission is unique to you. Maybe it's leading, maybe it's creating, maybe it's simply loving fiercely and standing with integrity. But whatever it is, your purpose isn't waiting at the finish line. It's built in the journey, step by step, through the life you live and the impact you make. When you fix yourself and stop at yourself, you'll always feel a limit. But when you fix yourself so you can serve, everything expands. Your energy, your influence, your fulfillment, it all grows. Because you're no longer just trying to survive or succeed, you're trying to contribute. And that shift from self to service is the most powerful transformation you can make. It's not just about building a better life. It's about building a legacy. One decision at a time, one life at a time, one act of service at a time. That's how you know the fix is real. Because now it's not just about you